Am I the asshole for saying, "I told you so," when my wife got banned from seeing our grandson? My wife has been in constant contact with our daughter-in-law, our son's wife, about plenty of things. Their very recent argument ensued after my wife kept insisting on being present in the delivery room despite getting a resounding no. My wife was having none of it. And after my son and his wife changed hospitals to throw my wife off after she threatened to barge into the room. She eventually found out, I didn't tell her, and got very mad. I told her to stop and think, because if she keeps this up she will lose all chances to see her grandbaby. She told me off and went to make a huge scene at the hospital my daughter-in-law was at. It did not end well and my wife came home crying hysterically after getting chewed out by our son and kicked out of the hospital. Things remained tense till my son called to invite me to see the baby for the first time. He did not invite my wife, which sent her into a mental breakdown. I had an argument with her after she tried to guilt me into staying with her and shame my son for keeping his mom away from her grandbaby, but I told her, "I told you so," and said that she had plenty of opportunities to get right with our daughter-in-law but she blew them away because of her stubbornness. She started yelling about how unsupportive and cruel I was, just like our son to be siding against her instead of defending her and staying home with her when our son banned her from meeting her grandbaby. I went anyway and she kept arguing about me taking the wrong side instead of defending her. I feel bad for her but at the same time I think that she was being irrational and made this a competition despite knowing how our son and his wife felt about her behavior. Not the asshole. I'd consider a divorce over this, to be perfectly honest. Your wife is being so irrational here, I'm a little worried for her. Is she this way about other things, or is this new behavior for her? You might want to see a medical professional with her. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. There's been similar posts like this in Am I the Asshole and Just Normal, and I'm so interested to know. 'Cause it's never from the husband, Phil's perspective. Why on earth do you stay with this woman? Seriously, this can't be an isolated component of her personality, because this behavior is a pattern and an extreme one at that, so please, I gotta know. Why are you remaining married to such a selfish jerk? Not the asshole. I actually want to say thank you, because there are many husbands who would have thought that having their wife's back meant going along with her batshit crazy, and you are an example of how that simply isn't the case. Your wife is abusive to your dill, and you refuse to play a part in that, so thank you. You raised your son well, because he had his wife's back when she was in a vulnerable position, and you had your wife's back by tell her she was being a jackass when she needed to hear it, even though it didn't make a difference. Bravo, op. Not the asshole, big yikes. Has she always been this way? Not the asshole. Good for you for siding with your son and dill against your wife's brand of crazy. Hopefully this teaches her a lesson, though probably not. NTA. She is being horrible to your son and his wife. She will end up in Just Normal if she keeps it up. She owes them a huge apology. Not the asshole. Your wife probably needs some professional help for her narcissism. You are 100% right. She acted in an unacceptable way and these are the consequences. I hope for all of your sake she starts to see reason, but I wouldn't twist yourself into a pretzel trying to make that happen. Am I the asshole for telling my wife she should get a nose job? I, 31M. Love my 30F wife. We've been married for 3 years and there's nothing I would change about her except that she's really insecure about her nose and that she get aggressive over it when I try to comfort her. For as long as I remember, she has always hated her nose and mentions it every day, and when I would try to comfort her and tell her it's beautiful and she doesn't have to change anything, she would get aggressive and yell that I'm a liar. 2 weeks ago she got a raise at her job and today she suggested the idea of getting a nose job. I said that if she's that insecure about it to the point that it's affecting her mental health then she should get it done. She got extremely upset over this and said that I should have said no to the idea. She left the house to go to her mother's and I haven't been able to get in touch with her since. Am I the asshole? Damned if you do and damned if you don't. Not the asshole. Extra stuff I forgot to say in the original post. 1. I've always tried to casually suggest therapy for her because honestly I think this goes way beyond insecurity because she's a super confident person and she loves how she looks, except her nose OBV. So I'm thinking this has something to do with trauma. 2. It's really uncomfortable for me to hear her complaints because we both have the same nose, big crooked Middle Eastern nose. So every time she says how disgusting and ugly she finds her nose to be, it breaks my heart a bit because I can't help but wonder if she feels the same way about my nose too. That was entrapment, sir. Not the asshole. You are within your right to ask her to stop mentioning this insecurity if she isn't going to do anything about it. Not the asshole. This is a no-win situation. Saying no would have been unsupportive and saying yes gets this reaction. I'm afraid that her reaction was immature, and if you're willing to be the bigger person, you can apologize and explain you were trying to be supportive. I'm sorry you're in this situation. Good luck. Title sounds bad, but not the asshole. Your wife needs to deal with her insecurities. Either by therapy or getting that nose job, if she wants it. Not gonna lie, I came here thinking this would be an easy YTA, but actually, your wife is the asshole here. It seems like you can't win op. Not the asshole. She should spend that extra income on therapy. Not the asshole. There's no winning here. She would have been mad either way. She needs to either make peace with her nose or change it. Am I the asshole for not letting my homeless brother live with me? I'm adopted. My brother and sister are the bio kids. I had some issues in my teenage years and wasn't the perfect kid, but brother was a bit wild too. However, since I'm the adopted one, my siblings have always given me extra shit for my failings. A few years ago dad got sick, so I moved home to help him and mom out. I contributed to bills, took care of dad, took care of the dogs, cooked every day, cleaned and worked full-time myself, and just really tried to be as helpful as possible. I even offered to pay rent, but my mom said no. Cut to me having a car accident, going to pick up dad's meds, and dad and mom buying me a used car so I could keep taking dad to appointments and as a thank you for all the help. Well, my siblings came for that Xmas, heard about the car and freaked out. They said I didn't deserve anything and that I was using mom and dad. My brother cornered me and said as soon as dad died I had a month to move out and stop leeching off mom or else. Dad passed shortly after that Xmas and I began planning my move, and mom was really upset. She kept pushing me to stay, but in the back of my head I had my brother's threat and just didn't feel comfortable staying. I ended up getting a place just up the street so I could still help her. After I moved I ended up getting really lucky financially. I was within a year of renting able to buy a house near mom and have been doing well for myself. Last year my mom's sister, who was also recently widowed, came to live with her and brought her 2 grandkids. She is the guardian of, so my mom's house is full and she's happy. I help out and watch the kids a lot and still do most of the house maintaining stuff, so I'm over a lot. On one of my visits my mom and aunt were discussing what to do because my brother needed to move home since his wife kicked him out. I offered to get the kids bunk beds and help move them into one room, and my mom was very grateful. A week later my brother called asking if he could just live with me since he didn't want to share a house with 2 kids. I have a spare room, but I don't want to live with him. He's treated me like shit for 10+ years at this point and never has a nice thing to say behind my back, usually from my teenager years when I was struggling. He is vocal about not considering me family. He said he doesn't want me at our mother's funeral or in her will. I don't want anything from her and never ask for anything, she just offers things sometimes. The animosity is palpable. I would offer to take in one of the kids, but they are young and need to be with their caretaker, so I think he just needs to suck it up and stay at my mom's. My mom knows how he is to me and would never ask me to take him in, but my aunt is confused why I wouldn't offer that, as it makes sense and another person in my mom's house will make it cramped. Some friends are saying after all my mom has done for me I should suck it up and let her son, my brother, stay with me, but I really don't want to. Does that make me an aw? Update. Hey everyone. Thanks so much for your input. I was feeling guilty before bed last night and wanted to post this and then kind of forgot, to be honest, and now I'm on my lunch break and did not expect so many responses. I'm going to read through all the comments as soon as I'm home, but thank you all for the advice and judgments. I won't be letting him move in. Unfortunately, a lot of you are saying I should tell my aunt, but I know my mom wouldn't want that. The animosity between my siblings and me makes her really sad, so I don't want to bring it up, but I will stand my ground on him not moving in. Also, for those asking, I was adopted after he was born when I was 12 after my bio parents went to jail for abuse and drugs, and we weren't very close then. It just got worse as we got older because as a teenager I made some mistakes. I threw a party at the cabin senior year, 12 or so years back, and nobody put out the fire, so a shed burned down and my parents had to spend a few grand to fix it, and I feel awful, but that's when it started, with the siblings hating me and demanding I get nothing more from mom or dad ever again. Our parents were quite well off, but since then I never asked for anything again. I even hid my school costs from my mom and took out loans even though she and dad said they had school money for me. And I try not to accept gifts etc., but to the siblings I'll always be the loser leech with the druggy genes. I've never done them, but because of my bio parents that's what he thinks. Also, for what it's worth, my mom will probably just end up paying for him to get an apartment if he keeps pushing back on living with her and aunt and kids, which is another reason why I feel guilty not letting him move in, because she is retired now, and with dad gone I'm not sure if she can afford that comfortably, but I guess that's something he should be guilty about, not me. Not the asshole. He's incredibly cruel to you. Time for him to reap what he sowed. Tell your aunt why you won't let him stay and she will no longer be confused. This seems like a very straightforward not the asshole situation. You know you aren't. He treats you like shit. And as far as he's concerned, he's not even your family. What do you owe him? He can sleep on a curb. Not the asshole. He's made it clear. He's not your family. If your house is close to your mom's, maybe take your aunt and winking face. You have to talk it through with your mom and aunt. Make it simple and thorough. The threats, the contempt, the cut you off the will. Everything. Not the asshole. This man has made it clear that you are nothing to him, and so he should get nothing from you. There is no bond between you. You don't owe him a free place to live. This is not your problem and you shouldn't spend another moment worried about it. Your mom is an adult who can do as she pleases, and so are you. Not the asshole. Pay attention to your feelings and the shared history. What stands out is your mom would never ask you to take him in. Seems to be that the two responsible adults in this scenario already have and respect each other's healthy boundaries. You know what you don't want. You know what your mother doesn't want to do to you. You are so not the asshole. Not the asshole. Why would he be homeless? Why can't he get his own place or do a house share for a bit? He didn't want to share a house with 2 kids. Well, I guess he's going to have to either suck it up or get his own place then. Why is yours even an option to be considered? Not the asshole. You don't have to open your house to anyone, especially to someone who has treated you like shit for most of your life. Continue helping your mum where you can, but don't go out of your way to help your brother. As long as your mum understands, and isn't too upset, I think you'll be fine. Not the asshole. He's made his bed and now he needs to lie in it, at your mum's house. It's funny how people will treat you like SHT and, not family, but expect you to be there for him at their time of need. Am I the asshole for not going by my dad's because he always sides with his girlfriend and her daughter? My parents split custody. It's pretty random. Some days I'm home and sometimes I'm by my dad. I'm 15 female. Dad started dating Jane a while ago, maybe a year. She has a daughter Mandy that's 12 or 13 I think. Then they started spending a lot of time by my dad's. They have their own apartment but they're still always by him. The first time they stayed over when I was there somehow Mandy ended up in my bed. Her mom has this cot, bed thing she brought by my dad's for her, but somehow I woke up in the middle of the night and she was in my bed. I kicked her out. Then my dad and Jane said, that was mean and I have a full anyway so I should share. There's other stuff. I have a chair in my dad's living room I got for my gift. It's comfy and when I move out it'll go with me. Well, Mandy always wants to race for the chair. Even when I win the race, my dad makes me let her sit in it because they're guests. So I end up sitting on the floor because my dad has a recliner and Jane lays across the couch. So I stay in my room instead. My dad's tried getting me to come out there by them. But why when I have to sit on the floor like a dog? He keeps saying, I'm being a difficult teenager. That's not it though. One time my mom and I went and did some stuff before she dropped me off. She had bought me a blanket that had my favorite team's logo on it. I was excited to sleep with it, stupid I know, so she let me take it by my dad's. My dad made me share it with Mandy, because it wasn't fair that I got something and Mandy didn't. It's not just the blanket it's happened with, it's anything that I have to share. But if Mandy has something I'd like to use he tells me it's hers and if she doesn't want to let me she doesn't have to. One time Mandy was reading one of my books, and Jane and my dad started fighting. Jane wanted to leave so Mandy wanted to take my book but I said no. So she wouldn't leave. My dad yelled at me to just let her have it. They made up so I got it back. But if they didn't I would have lost one of my favorite books. My dad and I had plans to go ice fishing, just him and I, something we've done since I was 7. Well, he brought Jane and Mandy along. All they did was complain, it's too cold, fish are gross, this is boring, so we left early. He said, sometimes you have to compromise. When I got home I was mad. My mom was annoyed and called him and they argued and he talked to me and repeated his compromising crap. I was supposed to go back by him a few days later but decided I didn't want to. I never even spend time with just him anymore, so what's the point in going there? I told my mom, she said it was my choice. So we told him, he said, I'm just used to being an only child and I can't be spoiled my whole life. And I can't run away whenever there's a problem. Well, since then, his family is trying to get me to go back too. Am I the asshole for not visiting my dad anymore? Edit. Some people have said to go to family counseling. He won't do that. He put me in therapy a few years back, because I wasn't doing my homework. Seriously, that's the reason. Then when my therapist started calling him out on his parenting, he didn't want to go anymore and my mom had to take me. My therapist even called him to try to talk to him and my dad ignored it. Not the asshole. Your dad is failing you as a parent. Go back, with your mom waiting, and pack up every important item you have at your dad's so that Mandy can't get her grubby little hands on your stuff. Not the asshole at all. Your dad is prioritizing his new girlfriend and he daughter over your needs and wants. Mandy wants something, she gets it. Your chair? Mandy gets it. Your book? Mandy gets it. Your new blanket? Mandy gets it. Your dad and Jane enable the behavior, and your dad's choices have shown you he doesn't prioritize your relationship with him. I wouldn't want to go somewhere where I am made to feel like a second-class citizen. When your dad asks why you don't want to go over anymore, send him exactly what you have written here. I am so glad your mom supports you and stands up for you. Less than 3. Best of luck, Op. Absolutely not the asshole. Your dad is sacrificing your privacy and belongings just to make sure he keeps getting laid, by keeping his GF's daughter spoiled. Ask him what he thinks the family court judge would say if presented the facts. He lets his GF's daughter take my belongings, he encourages her to climb into bed with me. I have no expectation of privacy or security there. I feel both unsafe and unwanted in the circumstances and I do not want to go to his house anymore. Not the asshole. Go and collect your things. Stay with your mom for as long as you need. Your dad doesn't understand that a compromise is a lose-lose situation. You can tell him that until he treats you with respect, you refuse to see him, and the compromise is that he can have the family he's always wanted instead. Not the asshole. He's choosing to treat a kid he's known a year, and a kid he's known for 15 years, and fathered, as the same. He's made his bed, he can lie in it. Edit. Your dad's right. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices. He made his. Why is it always you compromising and not Mandy? They're raising Mandy to be just as spoiled as he thinks you're being. Fair is fair. No means no. Stop going, he'll take the hint. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Don't go back until he can respect your boundaries and tell him as much. Have your mom back you up. NTA. Move the chair to your mom's house ASAP.